All right, hey everybody, it's Nash here, and today we are going to be talking some Texas Longhorns football on the eve of the first game against the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, September 4th, 3:30 p.m. kickoff, Central Time that is. Let's get into it. I'm excited, man. Game is a little over 24 hours away as at the time of the recording. I'm pumped. Let's go. Let's jump right into it. All right, so we're gonna start off with the FPI for this year, the Football Power Index, provided by ESPN. They have us at number 11 with a 15.3 RPI. There's a tier break once they see a tier break after the Longhorns. Shout out to the North Carolina Tar Heels with Mac Brown at the helm, sitting at number 13. But here you have Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns at number 58 in the FPI. They did bump down 2. They haven't played a game, so really it's 56 is the entering season FPI number. Let's look at their 2020 stats. They finished 10-1. So they didn't finish 4th best, but the record was the 4th best in all of college football, or tied for 4th best. They finished number 15th in the AP poll. A 7-1 record in the Sun Belt Conference. Head coach is Billy Napier. I believe he's in his 3rd year here. 33.6 points per game for on offense average. That makes for 29th best. Opponent points per game, they average giving up 22 points per game. And that makes for 31st best in all of college football. So the 80th ranked strength of schedule should ding their production, the opponent's points per game and points per game production. That should ding it a little bit. And let's move on to the returning quarterback production. 5th-year senior. So, I mean, this is an experienced guy. He has 2 years of experience under his belt playing the quarterback position. He does have 4 years on the roster, but he has 2 years of starting experience. The numbers that stand out to me are the 26-4 touchdown to interception ratio, his 2019 season. If we're seeing that Levi Lewis, forgive me, for mixed up his name and Chris Smith. If we're getting that Levi Lewis, that does kind of concern me a little bit. It raises my eyebrows. Now, move on to the running back production. They're losing a lot of it. They're losing nearly 70%, 69.7% of their rushing production from last year. They're losing from Elijah Mitchell and Trey Regis. Now, they do have a guy, Chris Smith, who has taken some yard. He has a decent 5.6 yards per carry. I'm not looking too much into that because that can change so much. But the number that I am looking at with him is 16 receptions. And that's significant considering how much less snaps you can assume he had than a Elijah Mitchell. He had the same amount of receptions on less snaps. I expect to see a passing attack from him. Kind of similar to how we use Bijan Robinson here. So if you go down to the rushing production from last year, that was majority of their production. So it is noteworthy that they lost 69.7% of rushing production from last year, and those two dudes are sitting on NFL rosters. They may or may not be. They may be on practice squads. I haven't checked since the 53-man rosters got out. So let's go to the Iowa State game. Or not. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's start off with the Iowa State game on here, but let's look at the FPI. And this is the end of season FPI with the schedules, with how the respective team finished. And you're going to see some green shaded games and a red shaded game. That if it's shaded, it basically means you were within one score. Now there is one that is shaded that doesn't fall in that category, and it's Texas State. Similar to a video before where I put Maryland as one. That's a game that I'm going to shade green. I did it because it's my YouTube channel. You got a problem with it? So be it. But I'm proving a point here with this. 115 ranked FPI at the end of the season. And you can only beat them by 10 points. I get you're playing at Texas State. If we were playing Texas State and we won 44-34, there are problems. When you allow Texas State to score 34 points against your defense, is that a good defense? Am I missing something here? I don't know, So, I do know. I'm not. This team is a little bit overrated. Kind of, spoiling the end. Spoiler. But you should have been able to gather that by now, by how I'm talking about this. So, you look at Iowa State, well, yeah, that's their best. That's one of their best games. But if you throw out South Alabama and Louisiana-Monroe, man, they beat them handily. Well, how did they do it? You see anything? What I see is empty stands. I see a day game. I see, and some people are going to empty stands. There's people in the stands. Those are band members and cheerleaders. What are you talking about? I mean, this is the first game back from COVID. Jack Trice Stadium. Ames, Iowa. Everything that makes Ames, Iowa, playing in Ames, Iowa, is gone. Night game, gone. Stands packed, gone. You can even look at the cyclone symbols. They haven't even been painted or chalked up. And you can assume that was due to COVID restrictions because they don't want too many workers to deal with the field and have just some COVID case that, we got to cancel the game. For some stupid reason. You don't want that. And I'm not here to talk about the politics of all that. And I'm not saying, I'm not getting into any of that. But what I was saying about stupid reason is they didn't want something that had really nothing to do with football other than the appearance of the field to, stop to take away a game in a limited season that's already had games taken away. So to me, everything about this picture says this isn't happening again. If you try and compare an empty Jack Trice Stadium to a packed DKR, I honestly don't even want to talk to you about this stuff. Because you're so you've already made up your mind that no matter what, Texas is playing a tough Louisiana Raging Cajuns team that beat Iowa State and we're going to lose. You got to look at external factors here. And so another factor in the game. Well, the kickoff return and the punt return. Oh, well, you can't take that out. You can't take those games away. You can't take those plays away. Let me ask you this. Let me see if it has it up here. No, it doesn't. Okay, let me ask you this. And if you remove the Iowa State game, okay? Take it away. How many punt returns and kick returns do you think they had for a touchdown? Keep in mind they had 2 of those against their best opponent. Throughout Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Alabama Birmingham, Texas State, Arkansas State, Appalachian State, Texas San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe, South Alabama. Through all those great opponents. You know how many kick returns and punt returns they had combined? One. One single punt return and kick return. So save me the, oh, well, you can't take those away from them. That actually happened. Well, I'm kind of playing a little bit of a devil's advocate for Iowa State. You take those away, that's 14 points right there. I mean, this is a complete difference in how this game goes. It's a 17-14 win then. And if you take away their one flash play, the one play that they had, that was the one successful play that they really had, like big time, 178-yard pass, and it was like a 30-40 yard bomb that the guy ended up getting behind the defense, and then boom, it's gone. 78 yards is over a third of their, it's about a third of their production from the entire game. This was a horrible offensive game. This team is not a great offense. They aren't. They had two good running backs running behind a good offensive line. They've lost two of their two really good running backs. You can call them really good running backs. They're sitting on, like I said before, they're either on a practice squad or on an NFL roster right now. And you're not doing that if you're not a good running back. They kept the penalties down in that game. That's a big thing for them. You know, penalties and turnovers kill games. Penalties kill drives, and that's something that we have to get cleaned up. That's been a killer for Texas. Stalling out drives. But you remove those three plays that don't happen often for them. They are very rare for them in that season. It's they got 10 points in that game. 31 points and 10 points is a lot different. Okay? So let's just refresh your brains with this. All right, so here you go. You got Georgia State, 91 RPI, or FPI, 86 FPI, Georgia Southern, 61 FPI, Alabama Birmingham, 101 Arkansas State, 102 Texas San Antonio. Well, let's look at these games. Let's just see how they did. Oh, tied through the end of regulation against a monster 91 FPI finishing team. Wow. Georgia Southern, they're losing. They're about to go and kick the game-winning field goal. You're dodging the point. They're losing to Georgia Southern, 86 FPI. What a solid team. The best team that they play, not named Iowa State, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State. They're making the winning drive midway through the fourth quarter. Arkansas State, they are tied at the end of the fourth, making the game-winning drive within 2 minutes left to go. UTSA, again, halfway through the fourth quarter, they're taking the lead. I mean, let me ask you this. If this was Texas right here, next to Georgia State, if that's Texas behind Georgia Southern, if that's Texas behind UAB, if that's Texas tied to Arkansas State, if that's Texas tied with UTSA, I mean, if you thought this fan base freaked out when we lost to Kansas, if we had finished with their season, I don't care if we finished 10-1. If we finished 10-1 winning games the way they did against those teams, we would be losing our freaking minds. So I don't want to hear about what a killer this Raging Cajun team is. Yes, Steve Sarkisian said they're a great team. Why wouldn't he? What does he have to gain by going out there and saying this team sucks and we should roll them? And if we don't beat them, we're we should be ashamed of ourselves. Because guess what? If he does that, all the coach has to do is it's a Texas versus USC all over again. Mac Brown playing what all the media is saying. All he's got to do is play what Coach Sark says in the press conference, and he doesn't have to say a word before his team going out there. And this team, the difference between us and Iowa State last year, they had a chance to catch Iowa State off guard. They didn't have a 10-win season with a win against with a top 10 team going into the Iowa State game, where Iowa State says, you know what, shoot, I got to pay attention. I got to really be on my P's and Q's this game. Because if I don't, I will slip up. And yes, Texas should beat this team. And yes, Texas has to be on their P's and Q's. They're not mutually exclusive. If Texas is where we want them to be, this is a team that you beat handily. So that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this Texas Longhorn preview versus Louisiana-Lafeyette. I do believe they're overrated. I do believe they should garner some, not garner. I don't know if that's the right word. I do believe they should command some respect and attention, but I think this is a game that we walk away winning. All right. I appreciate you for tuning into another video here. We're getting close, man. We're a little over 24 hours away from this Texas Longhorn game. I will be at the game, most likely, like I said. Hopefully tomorrow, just in a few hours, I'll be tailgating. So I appreciate you for tuning in. If you made it to this point, I really thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. You all have a great day. Let's go get a win against Louisiana-Lafeyette Raging Cajuns. Hook 'em.